point swing from just before we got the news of the Fed rate cut to just afterwards. A 500-point swing. I got this wrong. I was sitting here saying I knew that basis point was coming. I thought we might get a modest bounce. Susan said we'd get a 500-point rally. She was right.
Yes.
I am totally wrong. 15 love, kid.
All
15
right.
love. George C. is with us, Annandale Capital Chair. George, I know that you were saying prior to this you would not buy the dip. Will you buy it now?
No, Stuart, I think it's too early. I think we're going to get a lot more negative news from the virus and from earnings and from the economy. And I'm actually very surprised that the Fed has been this reactive. I think they should have cut 50 basis points. I think that's a good decision. But to do it right after last week, right after we had such a big downturn, it looks very reactive and reflexive and a little panicky on their part. And I think that after they wrongly raised rates in late 2018 and sent the markets into a tailspin, they then cut very quickly, so I think they're being a little too reactive. I would have waited a couple of weeks and looked a little more calm.
Let me press you on the virus, because it's widely understood that we got a new test coming on the scene, and that new test will be used, maybe 1 million new tested in the next week or 10 days. That will reveal a lot more cases in the United States, but that is known. That is expected. I think the market's looking beyond that, aren't you?
I think the market will eventually look beyond all this, and I think logically the virus is not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things, especially compared to the flu, so I get that. I just think the market panics when it gets bad news, and I think sometimes you have to just wait it out and let it have its panic attack before you get back in. So I don't think there's any big hurry right now.
But George,
I don't think there's a rush.
I would have missed it. If I was following you, I would have missed a whopping great big bounce.
Yeah, we had a huge decline last week. I think you have to let that settle. I don't think you chase 1 day or 2 day bounces. I just don't think you do that. Hopefully you're invested already, so you're on the ride as it is, because a real investor is on the ride, period. They're not trying to trade bounces up and down. But I think it's a good time to be reflective, and if you have exposure on, don't take it off.
Okay.
But at the same time, kind of watch for a while and see if you don't get a better entry point at some point.
Okay, watch this show and watch the market as it goes. George, thanks for joining us. Mike Murphy has brought him back into the studio. We need your comment on this. 50 basis point cut by the Federal Reserve.